What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today is the second ever episode of Triple Tea, aka Tuesday's Tea Time. Today, I'm actually drinking an iced tea in a press that I got from David's Tea, duh, makes it a lot easier to make iced tea. Essentially, this is raspberry jam tea, by the way. You just put it in the outer container. Then you fill the outer container up with water, and there's an inner container that just pops right out that you fill that up with ice. You smush the two together. Bob's your uncle. Delicious, delicious tea for a very hot summer's day, despite the fact that I'm wearing sweatpants because I'm in my room, and my room is in the basement, and in the basement it's cold. So, sweatpants. And as you can also see, I'm on my bed. Normally I shoot actually right behind where this camera is right now at my desk view when I do my pen reviews. So just, trying out different spots in the house for my triple T. I want to start off this one by just saying so many thank yous. I've gotten a really, really great response from you all. Regarding the whole Tuesday tea time, the whole thought behind it, the whole process behind it. The comment section blew up in last week's Tuesday's tea time, so I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you all for being very supportive. Thank you all for jumping on board, and enjoy this one. So what I've done in last week's Tuesday's tea time, I asked you to leave any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, and I got an outpouring of them. So I'm going totally not analog, digital, duh, and I have all of your comments on my iPad. I just screenshotted them all, and I'm basically just going to go through and randomly pick one to answer, and it is, Carrie, can you talk about your favorite Earl Grey and friendly fountain pen paper? Yes, George Little, I can. My favorite Earl Grey is the the first Earl Grey post that I even did on here. Just Twinnings. Twinnings Earl Grey. Caffeinated or decaf, doesn't matter. They're both great. It's a pre-packaged actually, so it's not even loose leaf. It's pre-packaged. I love the flavor profile. It's silky. It's, definitely got that bold bergamot flavor that you would expect from an Earl Grey, with the convenience of being pre-bagged. It's also heck cheap. You can go to Costco and get a giant box of them, like hundreds of them, for I think like $12. So it's really, really cheap. I like that I can drink it with sugar. I can drink it with no sugar. It's really, the sky's the limit. And I guess maybe because it was also the first tea that I really got into, it, kind of holds a special place in my heart. And for a favorite fountain pen paper, I would probably say Rhodia. And the reason why is because it's very smooth and it does have a slick coating, which means that your shimmery inks, your shading inks, all that kind of stuff is going to look beautiful in Rhodia. It's not going to ghost, it's not really going to bleed through. With Clairefontaine, it's basically the same paper but just a slightly different coating process. Clairefontaine can be slightly more prone than Rhodia to like hard starting, just because I find that typically they have a little bit more coating on theirs. And while Tomoe River is certainly the best for, bringing out the properties of the ink, like shading and shading, I just don't find it practical for everyday use because it's so thin, and because not many notebooks are made out of Rhodia, or Tomoe River. So, to answer your question, George, Rhodia. Alright, next one. Oh, this is a long one. Okay. So Austin Woodruff says, "Hey Carrie, I remember your Instagram post from back in July and I'm glad to see that Tuesday's tea time has come to fruition. Thank you. I have a question that I'd love to hear your feelings on. Do you find that the time you put into filming, editing, and releasing your videos diminishes the joy you garner when using fountain pens off camera? In other words, do you ever feel as if putting in videos becomes work? If so, does that sensation make it harder for you to enjoy testing and playing around with pens in your free time? I know that some of the most satisfying lazy days for me are spent doodling and messing around with pen, ink, and paper, but how has your passion for pens changed since you started putting out videos? Well, that is an amazing question, and I am very happy to say that no, it doesn't feel like work. Does it take time? Absolutely. I do obviously sit here for X amount of time and talk to you all about a pen or an ink or paper or anything like that. And then I do, of course, have to edit and upload and social media, all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely some, like, maintenance or work, if you want to call it that, to these videos, but I really enjoy doing them. I used to actually make videos before I started Pens and Tea, like years and years before, like 4 or 5 years ago, when daily vlogging just blew up and became super popular. So I used to do those back in the day. They went nowhere. And I do have a few of the videos actually still on my channel, but they are privated, so you can't actually see them. Maybe, who knows, if I hit like 2, 3, 4, 5,000 subscribers or something, I'll open one of those up and you all can completely laugh at me. So, it's definitely something that I knew was gonna involve some work starting, but I thought, you know what, I love it. And there's no one in my personal day-to-day life that really enjoys this hobby the way that I do. Actually, everybody that I know, friends and family-wise, they don't understand the hobby. They don't see the point behind it. They don't really get it. They think it's cool. They'll listen to me tell stories here and there, but for the most part, short of going, oh, that's weird, cool, ha ha ha, that's it, So a big proponent for the reason why I started these was to open up dialogue between everybody, and really start, getting involved in the fountain pen community. I really, really, really wish I could have gone to the DC Pen Show that actually just ended this last weekend. I am fortunate to have some folks, that are about an hour away from me that I'll actually be meeting for the first time in person this weekend to hang out and have a chat with, but primarily this is my main vehicle for pen communication. So no, it doesn't feel like work. If it ever did feel like work, I would stop, but I don't ever see that happening because I really do enjoy talking about it. And does it diminish, me just playing around with them on my own? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. A lot of what I do on my own, just doodling around, really the thoughts and the enjoyment or the disappointment with that experience informs these videos, and I would have them regardless of whether or not I made them. So, nope, these videos, I think, to me, are just a bonus, kind of like the cherry on top of your sundae. And I'm going to keep on making them until I run out of stuff to say, and I pretty much talk all the time, so we're good. Just scrolling through randomly and stop. Tell us about your writing/journaling experience, why you got into the fountain pen hobby. Asked from Lorena DPG. Well, Lorena DPG, they almost go hand in hand. I got into the fountain pen hobby completely by accident. I ordered the all-silver Pilot Metropolitan off of Amazon, actually, and I ordered it because it meant that I got free shipping. I had no idea what a fountain pen was. I was never one to write journals. I was never one to particularly enjoy writing anything. A pen to me was just something that you used in school. That was about it, really. Nothing. It was just on a whim. because I didn't like paying for shipping. So I got it, and when it arrived, it was kind of weird looking and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. And so of course I came to YouTube and started watching other people's videos, primarily the bigwigs, you know, Brian Goulet, S. Brown, Matt from the Pen Habit, Aziza, Gourmet Pens. You know, I started watching all these videos to learn what fountain pens were. And that Pilot Metropolitan was the only thing I had. And with it, it came a cartridge. So I popped in the cartridge and I just started using that. And I had terrible experience with it because I had nothing but bad paper that you would use in school. I didn't realize you needed more paper. So, you know, the farther I got into the videos, the more I realized that it's not just a pen. It's a lifestyle, really. So I ordered a notebook just to try out the paper and to have one place to keep it all. And that was basically going to be it. It was going to be that one notebook and that one pen. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But when I started writing in it with the paper and just, I fell in love with the way it felt, the way I felt using it. You know, I felt very cool and very sophisticated. And I just loved watching the ink pour out of the nib and then dry on the paper. It was something that I found so weird that I liked it. I remember thinking, nobody likes this. Why? Like, I don't understand why I do. And I still really don't fully understand why I am fascinated by it, but it just happens. And so the desire to use my pens, because I wasn't in school, you know, I didn't have notes or anything. I didn't use it for work. I worked at a technology company, so heyo, we use these. So to me, pens were foreign. Pens were something that I didn't use in a day-to-day life. So ordering that journal became an excuse to use that pen. So I started journaling as an excuse to use it. And I was going through a lot of personal things at the time. So I used that journal to sort of open up a dialogue with myself. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Then I started trying to figure out who I was, what I was going to do with work. Was I happy with work? My weight loss journey, like all this kind of stuff, just kind of compiled. And now, I mean, I'm on my 6th journal in like a year and a half. And now journaling is such a critical component to my life. And that really was because I bought a Pilot Metropolitan on a whim, and I am never ever going to look back. I mean, now I've got probably a ridiculous amount of fountain pens. You know, I've got this YouTube channel now. I've got, you know, all these things that I can do. So that one impulse decision that I made really has changed the whole direction of my life. The way that I process things, the way that I do everything. Now I find every excuse possible to write, whether it's journaling or whether it's just doodling or whether it's, you know, with pen pals, things like that. So yeah, that's how those came about. While I'm picking the next one, I just want to say, guys, I'm getting loads and loads of questions, way more than I actually thought I was going to. And I don't want these videos to become too long. I'm going to try and stay under a half an hour for every triple T. So if I don't get to your question, if it is an amazing question, I will keep it until the week after. Otherwise, I will go back and answer your question written if I don't answer it in the video. So that way you still get your answer, but it just may not be featured here because, I mean, I'm literally just going through randomly and picking out some questions. Okay, so Miguel Oxamendi? Miguel, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Would enjoy your take on how you balance the use of your digital and analog tools. My friends are always a bit confused on why I care so much about pens when I do 99% of writing at work with a computer and even on my phone has a stylus, Samsung Note. Well, Miguel, that is an excellent question, since I'm using an iPad here. Like I said before, I used to work at a technology company where finding a pen was a weird thing to do because we had iPads, we had computers, we had everything. And, you know, being outside of school, and even when I was in school, primarily everything that we would do would be on the computer. So, and I still use the computer and the iPod and the iPads and my iPhone. I've got all these devices where they dominate your life. But what I find is that when I sit down to write, I enjoy writing stories, writing novels. When I sit down to write, be it a brainstorming idea or I just kind of want to do like a brain dump, I prefer to do that with pens and paper. Even when I was in school taking notes in class, I would prefer a pen and paper. Reason being is there are far too many distractions on the computer or the iPad for me to be able to focus. You know, the temptation is just too great for me to handle to jump on Facebook or jump on Twitter or check out who's uploaded videos on YouTube or search something on the net. The temptation is far too great. So anytime I do something personal or you know, writing like stories or in class, like I said, I'm not a student anymore, but when I used to be, I would completely go analog. I would cut out all technology because I just couldn't focus. It was like my brain was just like on ADD. I couldn't. And so anytime I really want to have me time is when I go analog, especially journaling. I tried having a written blog a year ago, just before I actually started journaling, before I ordered that fountain pen. And it didn't go very far because anytime I would sit down to write, I would just get so distracted. And then I would be, you know, especially for brain dumps, seeing that red underline under a misspelled word or blue under, like, you know, grammatically incorrect word just drive me nuts. Like, all I would see is that line and I would have to immediately go back and fix it because I couldn't stand it being there. And that was distracting. I would lose my train of thought. I would lose just everything that I was doing. So going completely analog, handwritten, you know, pen to paper, was just so much better for me to be able to focus. And you know, I'm 27 years old and I still, to this day, I cannot do large portions of work on the computer without having, at the very least, brainstorm something on paper because I can't handle it. Okay, so Leslie Inglis. Inglis? I have no idea. Anyway, what is/was your most memorable or favored tea experience? Intended to be very open-ended, from taking tea at tea room, discovering a beloved blend, etc. Do you have P.O. Box to receive some happy mail? Well, Leslie, my favorite tea experience is probably, it was 2009. I was in, yes, 2009. I was in my first student housing off campus. I moved in knowing exactly two people to that house, and there were 6 more that I didn't know. So yes, there was a lot of us living in that house. One of the people that was in that house was a man called Robert, and he is now my best friend. We travel the world together. We do pretty much everything. It's awesome. So yay for university. But he actually was the one to introduce me to tea. Prior to that, it would just be a tea here and there, Tetley tea, random bag, maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times a year. But he actually introduced me. He had a tea called Aztec's Gold, which was a fruit blend, kind of a like citrusy, fruity blend, from a company called Teopia that was bought out by Tivana, which was bought out by Starbucks. Yay, parent companies. But anyways, he introduced me to that, and we started having nightly tea time. So as a way to unwind from the day, as a way to de-stress from the day, from school, life, everything, we would get together about 8 to 8:30 every night and have tea time. And we would just drink tea, we would talk, we would maybe watch a show, we would do whatever. It would be our time to hang out and just have a mental break from everything that was going on. That was 2009, it's now 2016, and I still have tea time every night. He lives in Newfoundland now, so we don't get to have tea time together, but it's definitely a tradition that I carry forward, and pretty much every night still have it. It's just a very nice mental break. So that to me is my most memorable moment because it's what started everything, and I really, really like it. It's a moment that I cherish. And do I have a P.O. box? No, I do not. Maybe it would be something like way, way, way down the road to consider if, you know, a lot of people asked for it. It's a relatively expensive thing to rent a P.O. box. I understand the purpose behind it, but it's just not something that I'm considering yet, as there's just not enough demand for it. But if ever there begins one, then I will definitely revisit that issue. Alright, I got 8 minutes till I hit my half-hour mark and 2 questions left, so I'm going to try and get through both of them. Lisa Marie, I'd love to hear your favorite shows, movies, music, etc. What are your favorite fountain pen friendly papers? I was eyeing sparkly, glittery highlighters, not too sure, and imagining flaking glitter all over the place. So favorite show of all time is Friends. I can quote every single episode. It's just a fact. But one that I'm really into that are on TV right now is, of course, Game of Thrones. I really like a show called Winona Earp that is on Sci-Fi. I like Doctor Who. I like, what else do I watch? I watch Criminal Minds a lot, Once Upon a Time, NCIS. What else do I watch? Chicago Fire. There's loads more. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Movies. Honestly, I'm not a huge movie person anymore. I used to be a big movie buff, and I used to actually think that I wanted that to be my career. I wanted to be a director. But once I started getting more into television, TV shows and series and whatnot, movies kind of went out the wayside. But my favorite movie of all time, since a little kid till this day, is Wizard of Oz. Music, I'm a Hanson fan. Yes, Hanson mbop, ba-doobie-dop, ba-doo-bop, from the 90s. They still make music to this day. I love them, and they're definitely my favorite. And favorite fountain pen friendly papers, I'm going to throw back to the earlier question, definitely Rhodia. I use them all. You know, I've used Banded Apple, Tomoe, Midori, which is Tomoe, you know, Clairefontaine, Rhodia, all that kind of good stuff. But Rhodia is definitely my mainstay. And eyeing sparkly, glittery highlighters. I have no idea what those are. Not a clue in my brain. I've never seen sparkly, glittery highlighters, so if you can, send a link to me or something, and I will try and check it out. Alright, and the last question is a big question. Martinez House says, I like this chill format, though I think when viewing the next Tuesday's tea time video, I'll prepare with a cup of tea to sip while enjoying this new format. Cheers, brother. I'd be interested in what teas your subbies also enjoy. So guys, if you enjoy a really tea, what is your favorite tea? Leave a comment section below. Gotta say that I'm a fan of both styles and formats I view. One thought is after August, bring back this format as needed to answer questions from us subbies. Cool idea, thank you. As far as other video ideas, inks perhaps your favorite color, properties, price, paper by properties, price, or both, loose or in journals, gift ideas, you know, same for tea enthusiasts. Cool, that would definitely give me some good videos to work with in the future, because eventually I'm going to run out of pens that I own, so I'll need something to do after that. I would enjoy seeing you steep the tea you end up drinking. Good point. I usually cut that out only because it just takes up some time. I have in the, which one was it? I know I did one. I think it was the Quaco Sport, and it was the Santa's Secret tea, I believe, is one I showed. But Maybe I'll do that in next Tuesday's tea time. I'll start answering questions while I brew my tea. Your thoughts on pros and cons of loose versus tea bags. Favorites of each. Boy, I prefer loose leaf mostly because it generally has a stronger flavor and I can control how much I want in it. Generally though, it means that the price is hard because the price is always generally going to be higher than if you buy tea, like pre-bagged tea. But if you break it down, you know, you get about 15 to 20 cups of tea for, on average, about $8 worth of loose leaf tea. So if you buy pre-bagged, typically you're spending anywhere between $3 to $10 to get maybe 8 to 12 bags. So economically speaking, loose leaf, just like fountain pen ink, is cheaper when you break it down that way, but it's a higher cost up front. So I do prefer loose leaf tea, but I do prefer pre-bagged when I need to go somewhere, if I'm, you know, just in a rush or frankly just lazy, because that convenience factor is there. Favorites of both, honestly, I cannot answer that. I don't really have a favorite tea. If you saw my tea cupboard, which maybe I'll show one day, I have hundreds of them. I couldn't choose. Do you journal? Yes. Do you use any journal prompts? I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but I don't get prompted. I just have ideas and I'll write them down. If you had $25, what would you buy first? Tea or fountain pen related items? What about $50 or $100? I appreciate your video input. You seem like a straight shooter, which is refreshing. Well, thank you. I try and be as bias-free as I possibly can. So $25, $50, $100. If I only had $25, I would probably buy tea, because you can stretch that pretty far with tea. With pens, you can't really stretch that at all, or at least not with the level that I've kind of gotten comfortable with. So I'd probably buy tea. Probably buy a couple different loose leaves and try them out. $50, that is smack in the middle, where it's almost too much money to buy a bunch of tea, but not quite enough money to get either a bunch of pens or, you know, you can get one pretty good pen for $50. You can get a pretty solid one. The level that I'm at right now with pens, for $50, I would probably get pen accessories, so a notebook and an ink, not necessarily a pen. For $100, I would probably get a pen, because that's far too much money to spend just on tea, and just because you would end up getting like a crazy amount of tea, which if you don't have any tea, then that's bueno, but I have loads and loads and loads. So for $100, yeah, I'd probably buy a pen. The next pen that I want, I would need like many more of those. I'm looking into the Visconti Homo sapiens next, and if I get it, I'll tell you the reasons why. It's going to be a pretty special one for me, but that's what I would do. It's probably a pen for $100. So yeah. I'm almost at the end of my iced tea here, and again, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your generosity, your support, and your kindness and openness to this idea. Still, you know, same ideas. Leave any comments, questions, or concerns you have down in the comment section below. I'm going to try and do the same thing for next week. I found this really fun. I hope you guys found it fun as well. If I'm speaking too fast or if I'm moving too quickly through them, I apologize. Let me know. Would you rather see fewer questions but more fleshed out answers? Or would you prefer kind of what I did today, just kind of random and try and answer as many as I can? Do you mind if the videos are long? You know, I'm going to try and keep this one around half an hour. Tea times with that many questions, I would like to be around a half an hour. Or are you okay if they get longer than that? Let me know. But question of the day comes from an earlier question. What is your favorite tea, or / your favorite tea moment? If you're not a tea person, then maybe what's your favorite fountain pen? It's kind of a broad question, but what's your favorite fountain pen? Guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in to the second Tuesday tea time, and I will see you next week with a new cup of tea, new batch of questions, and who knows, maybe even a different spot. I gotta say, this is really comfortable. I'm in sweatpants, I'm on my bed, I'm liking it. Cheers, guys.